Hello everyone, welcome to the part 3 of Prisma Calendar features breakdown. And in this video I will be showcasing some additional features that were released only recently and also some others that didn't make it in the first two parts. So again, this is part 3, so if you haven't watched the first two parts, go ahead and watch it. Link is going to be in the description below. So the first thing I want to showcase that we have added is event renaming on drop. These are recurring events. When you basically move it, it detects the logic, and as you can see here, it changed the name. Because of that, you can just easily rename your recurring events based on their instance date. Okay, so the next feature I want to showcase is duplication of recurring events. So let's create a new recurring event here with weekly logic, and as you can see, it gets created here. Basically, what we can do here, before you could, so let's say I want to do this habit. So this is a habit I do once a week. But let's say I wanted to do it twice this week. So I could use the duplicate event as was previously available. And let's see how the events look actually. So here, this is the one that we just duplicated. It doesn't contain the arrow ID or the recurring instance or source node. So this means that it's not being tracked here. It's not included here. However, if we use the duplicate recurring instance logic, what this actually has is it contains the same arrow. This is the one that we just used, duplicate recurring instance date, and it contains all of these properties as well as a new property called ignore recurring, which is configurable here. And what this says is that it's not going to conflict with the creation of new weekly events, because basically we have it configured to only generate 2 weekly events into the future. So if we created it here, it could like conflict with the future creation, but since it has this ignore recurring property, it's not going to conflict with it. And also what this does is that we can see that it's included here, so you can still track it. It's included as part of your recurring event series, so you can track it and work with it. So this is just a convenience so that you can actually duplicate your events and still track them. The next thing I wanted to showcase is that we have added this preview logic here, which just triggers the classic Obsidian hover preview, and you can write it. So previously you could still trigger it manually if you just hover over it and hold the CTRL shortcut, but now it's like this as well. So you can just preview it like this. This is more convenient compared to having to manually hover over the event, and hope it works. Next thing I want to showcase is the stopwatch feature. So time tracking or stopwatch. So the stopwatch feature, let's show it. Here you create a new event like working, and you can trigger a stopwatch here. So what this does is right now it's counting you the time that you're working. So first of all, you can see how much time you have spent working here. Also, it just fills the start date with now, and when you press stop, it's going to fill the end date with now. So you can then create the event. You can reset it and work with it. We also added the option to just fill it with now here manually. So this is just for tracking, and I will get to break property in a second. And what this also does is you can minimize it. We've added this logic to minimize, and we can use the restore minimized event modal, and what this does is that it opens this and it's still being tracked. So you can see 24 seconds, 26. So it's counting the time in the background while you can do other stuff. So you can actually like say, I'm going to write something into Obsidian. You close this, you can write here, you can work, then you come back. Once you are done, you can press stop. And so this state gets saved on two ways. So first of all, you can trigger the minimize, and this preserves the form data. You can only have one event preserved logically, and you can actually press escape here, just leave the modal, and it will still save this if there is a time being tracked. So right now time is being tracked, so it saves it. If time was not being tracked and I would close it, it would not save it. And you can also use the minimize logic here. And so also the minimize logic works in a way. So let's say you wanted to create a new event. So work, you fill in these values here, and you can just minimize it and you can restore it back as well. Now let's talk about the break property, as you have already seen inside the stopwatch. So let's keep it running, and actually let's use the break here. Break property, this is a new configuration property added here, and this works in a way that, so again, it's running here. When we press resume, it's going to fill the break property with the minutes and it's going to continue. So again, it just fills it, and then you have to press create to actually save it. So it doesn't automatically save it, it's just pre-filling the form values for you as a convenience, and it's showing you the time values, so you can keep track of it. So now, what is the break property? So let's look at here. We have for example, 16 hours in the gym, because there are actually 8 2-hour events of gym, right? So the break property is used only for statistics. And let's say here, actually, you didn't actually work out for 2 hours. You had to travel, you have to eat breakfast, whatever. You can say that you actually worked for just an hour. So you can use this break property and save it. You could actually just like split the event manually like this, you know, into 2 separate events. But this is much more easier and convenient. And so what it's going to do is going to reflect inside the statistics. So here it's only 15 hours. As you can see previously, it was 16. Okay, so if you were to fill the break property again, here, it's only 14 hours, right? So this is used in statistics, and you can also pre-fill it here manually. Next thing we have added and improved are the categories. So here, category property, and this was already there. But what we have added is we now support one event can have multiple categories, and the way it works is, you can see here, for example, so whenever you assign a category to an event, so that create a new category here, it's going to be picked up by the plugin, and now when you want to fill a category, it's going to suggest it here. So you can fill it. So actually, so the event can have multiple categories, as we just said. They are comma separated. So you can use this button, which just basically shows you all of the categories you have inside your event. So this is just a convenience for you to easily navigate and fill categories, so you don't make mistakes. You can also write it manually, obviously, for new categories that you have not yet used. And you can remove it manually by just removing them, so it's comma separated. And so this is going to be showcased inside this. This is used mostly for statistics and whatever tracking you want to. So inside statistics, you can see to how many areas you allocate your time. And basically, if an event is inside 2 categories, it's going to be filled. Its time is going to be filled into both categories. The next thing I want to showcase is we have improved the recurring event modal. So here, before it was only disabled, but now it was showing only disabled recurring events, but now we have changed it so that it showcases all of the recurring events. First of all, we have added search here so you can navigate and find it. Second of all, we are showcasing right next to the recurring event what type is it, and you can also manually filter to detect the types. And you can navigate there inside the calendar to actually see it. It's going to get highlighted. So this makes working with recurring events so much more easier and better for you. Also, you can disable it here. What we do is you can also then just show disabled or enabled. So you can, from this modal, you can enable it back or you can disable it. It's made for your convenience. So this makes working with recurring events much more smoother and better. So the last thing I want to show is something called calendar event presets. So this allows you to create a sort of templates for events that you can pre-fill inside the create event and edit event modals. So let's say I create an event here, new event, and I can configure whatever properties I want here. I can assign categories, I can create here another property, and now I can save it as a preset, name it new or test preset, save it, and now I can just automatically fill it and it's going to create that event with that name. So this is just a convenience for me to allow me to easily create new presets. And also we allow the presets overriding. So I can override the name here, save as preset, and instead of creating a new one, I can just override it here. And so now when I'm going to pre-fill it, it's going to contain the override name, right? So you can configure event preset here, and just this is used for both creating events as well as editing events. So you can also edit already existing events this way. Okay, so the last thing I want to show is import and export for integrations. There is a link to the documentation that explains it more thoroughly. But basically, you can specify the folder where you want it to be exported, and the way it works is so you select the calendar and then you specify the time zone you want it to be exported into, and then just click export. So it's going to be exported here. But Obsidian doesn't show such file extensions, so you can use it locally in your file system or just enable it so that it shows it. But what I want to show now, let's say I create a new calendar and I specify the directory tasks2 like this. Now we have 2 calendars here and the second one is empty. And so when we go and import here, we specify the new calendar, we choose this file, it's going to create all of these events the same way. So when we compare this, now you can see that the calendars are exactly the same. It has imported all of the events. So you can actually also clone directories like this. And so this showcases the imports work. So this is it for the new feature showcasing. I plan to add cal-dav integration, calendar dav, and so to achieve full integration with Google Calendar and iCalendar and all of those calendar applications through this open protocol interface. It is going to be the last main feature that you should look forward towards too, and I'm also going to be looking into improving the mobile experience support. So thank you for watching this video. Definitely share your feedback on the GitHub through issues, and share and like, and tell everyone about this Obsidian calendar plugin, because this is going to take over the market as the best calendar plugin. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.